It's been far too long. So we're back here after our last top 10, which was, well, to put it nicely, longer than I had said it was going to be between this and the previous one. Whoops! So, if my math is correct, I owe you guys 6 big videos. Thankfully though, I have given you guys 2 recent ones with the NCAA webpage creator and the How to Play Panini Dragon Ball Z video. While those 2 weren't top 10s per se, they did take a bit of time to make, and I really appreciate those who took the time to watch those videos if it did interest you. But that does leave me with 4 more big videos that you guys still need, plus the one for March. So my tentative plan, bearing in mind that I have to juggle a busy school schedule, plus work, which combined is basically a full-time job, plus some time outside to do homework, study, finish my senior design project, and then try to have a social life, it's going to be really tough, but I do have a plan for the next few months. If you've been floating around my channel recently, you've probably noticed that I've started a lot of Dragon Ball Z Panini content between local martial arts tournaments and Dragon Ball Z deck labs. With that, my channel has gotten a pretty consistent schedule for the Dragon Ball Z Panini content. So now I want to get a consistent schedule for my bigger videos. So, for the next 3, probably 4 months, I'm hoping to release a top 10 per month, as well as a small top 5 video that will hopefully start to get those creative juices flowing in my head for more future videos. As I said back in August, top 10s are probably my favorite videos to make, but they are very time consuming and they're also very taxing on me. With my work and school schedule, I'm feeling that I can find some time to script up and get some footage a bit better than I did last semester. My senior design project is nearly done with about 8 weeks left in the semester, and I have a class load that isn't as overbearing as the previous semester once was, so I can't keep making excuses anymore. So with that, here's the first of many Top X videos. We start off with a series I was about halfway through at the time of the release of the previous Top 10. And this video will cover the top 10 best hidden empty honeycomb pieces in Banjo Kazooie. For those who haven't played Banjo Kazooie or Banjo Tooie, which is the sequel, the game is a bit of a collect-a-thon. There are Jiggies, Jinjos, Music Notes, Mumbo Tokens, Red Feathers, Gold Feathers, Blue Eggs, Honeycombs, and what our top 10 is about, empty honeycomb pieces. What the empty honeycombs do is when you collect 6, you gain an extra honeycomb piece for your health bar. There are 24 empty honeycomb pieces, but you can only increase your health bar from 5 to 8. The 6 extra are just for collecting purposes. With all 24 up for grabs, we can decide which honeycombs were the most well hidden. For this list, we will exclude the opening world empty honeycombs, because those are laid out and given to you from learning the base moves of the game. So that leaves 18 empty honeycomb pieces to choose from. With 2 per each of the 9 levels, all those will be up for grabs as honeycombs that we can choose from. We will grade each of these based off 3 categories. The first category is how streamlined it is. As a collect-a-thon, a lot of people will aim to 100% complete the game anyway. So for the people who just want to play the game and beat it and say, I beat Banjo Kazooie, how along the lines of Jiggy collecting is the honeycomb? Is it completely out of the way, or is it on the same track as other events in the level? The next category is visibility. If it's hanging out just out in the wide open world to see, it will definitely falter in this category. The final grading criteria is peril. This is how much danger do you have to put yourself in when trying to get this piece. With that laid out and the stage set, let's get on into the list. At the 10th spot, we traverse to Clanker's Cavern. This level is filled with grimy water that'll zap your air a bit faster than normal water. You'll be swimming a lot, so get ready for this nasty grimy water. The area has a giant garbage disposal in Clanker, who's a giant shark-like machine who you can climb all over to get around the whole main area of the level. For the honeycomb in question, we will have to use some context clues. There is a jump pad on a platform connected to the wall. You can take this to the left where there's a bar that you will be able to climb up. After you've climbed to the top of that pole, you will be able to see an air duct system. It slides down, but it also does show you a grate which you can presume that you can use the Beak Buster to destroy. When you do, you get a Jinjo. If you jump out of the newly formed hole and slide down that same air duct to another air duct with a similar grate, you can Beak Buster it and fall down and then get your honeycomb. The honeycomb is extremely hidden, as you have to use some good context clues to figure out what to do. As a collect-athon, you need to explore everything for the completion aspect to begin with. So for the Jinjo Jiggy, you're headed up that way to begin with. For that, the STREAMLINE rating is very low at about a 3. For the visibility, I'm going to give it a pretty high score, an 8. While it's not visible, it does show you some clues like smashing a grate to get a Jinjo, sliding down the air duct, and then seeing another grate that is screaming to you, "Beak Buster me!" That is not completely hidden. For peril, this is very low, as if you fall, you'll more than likely hit the water, so it's going to get a 1. For that, this piece gets a 4 out of 10 for its overall rating. It's very well hidden in terms of visibility, but there are many clues screaming to you with the jump pad that shows you to jump on the pole, climbing up, seeing the air duct, hitting it, getting a Jinjo, then another air duct that's saying, "Hit me." The next piece, though, it's a bit more out of the way. At the number 9 spot, we go to the cold area of Freeze Easy Peak. The snow-covered area has many obstacles throughout, like the big snowman to climb, the water that if you touch it, it's gonna hurt you, and then finding presents for Boggy's kids because he's a horrible father who decided to not get them presents. He decided to eat a golden puzzle piece that we needed, and we have to hit it out of him, and then he decides after that he wants to race. He doesn't want to do that anymore. He doesn't want to get his kids presents, completely forgets about them. They're home alone crying. I've got to deal with it to get another Jiggy, and it's just, ugh. But that's besides the point. So for this piece, we need to be a walrus. This involves us going to Mumbo's and then transforming to begin with. Then you need to go to Waz's cave. There, Waza will give you a Jiggy and he invites you inside his cave. If you look around as a walrus, you'll see a water area. You then can see a small little hole that'll be a path, which if you follow, it takes you to a little room where the honeycomb piece is. This one's not too difficult. For STREAMLINE, it's an easy 3. You have to go and get the Jiggy as a walrus, and then you're invited in. For visibility though, this one is tucked away a bit, so I'll give it an 8. For the peril, this one gets a 1 though. There is hardly anything that can hurt you, except for the Sir Slushies on the way to the walrus's cave, but if you've already destroyed them, there's not a lot you have to worry about. All this being considered, this piece gets a 4.33 out of 10 as well. Not too difficult, but you do have to explore a bit. The next piece, though, is a bit more hidden, so you have to make sure you're checking everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. For the 8th spot, we will be going to Bubble Gloop Swamp, where there's a lot of tucked away areas throughout the level. For this one, we need to go to the area with the giant turtle, Tank Top. After opening his mouth by beak busting his limbs, he will open his mouth and spit out a Jiggy. You can then enter his mouth. After going in and playing Tip Top's music memory matching game and beating it, he will also give you a Jiggy. Now after this, your mindset may be to leave, but trust me, you want to take a look around. And I sure did, but I didn't see anything. That is, in plain view. What you need to do is jump on Tip Top's podium. It's rude, but hear me out. He's standing right there, trust me. When you do, the camera angle will move, showing the empty honeycomb piece floating above the podium. Now for me, this one took me forever to find. For its STREAMLINE, I'm going to give it a 6. Yes, Tank Top opening his mouth screams, "Come inside," and after that, there isn't a lot telling you to jump on the podium though, and look for it. As for visibility, it is going to get a 6. Once you do jump on that podium, it does have a beam of light that's screaming to it and showing the honeycomb piece. But what really hurts this piece is the fact that it isn't too perilous. For that, it's going to get a 2, bringing its final overall score to a 4.66. Great piece hiding though. Starting to ramp things up a bit now, but the next one is a bit more of a process in itself. The 7th piece is located in Gobi Valley. Gobi is a camel who's trapped somewhere throughout the level. Now, I did say process, so let's get that underway. We first need to free Gobi by beak busting the rock he's tied to, then beak bust his back when he's in front of the tree trunker, so he will grow and you can grab a Jiggy. And then finally, we need to beak bust Gobi when he's placed himself in a little hole along the back wall. Whew, that was long. But by doing the last part, he spits up the honeycomb piece. This one now is pretty streamlined. Probably the most streamlined, so it's going to get a 1. But for visibility, it's clearly one of the most hidden. Of course you get the Jiggy by beak busting his back to spit water out and then feeding the tree Trunker, but after that you really have to go looking for Gobi, which isn't really your first thought, and he's kind of hard to find. The back wall isn't something you primarily go towards, so the third time you find Gobi you really have to either be looking for him or just get plain lucky flying around. For this, I'll give him a 9. Finally, the peril on this is average, so I'll give it a 6. You have to cross the desert a lot, so you could end up hurting yourself in the process. For that, I'll end up with a final score for this honeycomb piece at 5.33 out of 10. Now, the past few we went through are rather easy to find. The next one, though, is where we really rack up the difficulty. At the 6th spot, we go back to our only repeat offender of the levels, which is Clanker's Cavern. Now, the first one was very streamlined. This one is in no way streamlined. So you go to the same jump pad area that you were for the other honeycomb piece, and now instead of going left to climb up that pole, go to the right and jump into the water. If you dive down, you'll see a pipe that has its ending into the water. If you attempt to swim under, you can swim up the pipe, and by doing so, you'll find the honeycomb piece. Now, this one is so out of the way. In terms of streamline, I'm going to give it a 9. It's really out of the way, and you don't really think that you can swim under that pipe. For visibility, this is going to get a 10. But what hurts it is its peril. There isn't too much danger with this, so I'm going to give it a 1. While you do lose air for being underwater faster in the grimy water, you really don't have to worry about it too much because the pipe isn't that far underwater to get that honeycomb piece. Tallying up the score, we get a 6.66 out of 10. Not bad at all. Now that we're done with 6, let's go to the top 5. The 5th spot on our list is in Click Clock Woods. This level itself is a pain. Having to go in and out of the different seasons and having all the different collectibles scattered throughout, it's painful enough. But the honeycomb piece in question here is a task to find. For this honeycomb, you must be in winter. Once there, you have to walk around the base of the tree and find the hole in the frozen river. Once you find that, you have to swim into the hole, which you'll start losing your life twice as fast because it's freezing. You must hurry and swim and find the hole in the base of the tree. Once there, quickly swim on up and you'll be in Naughty's house. Once there, climb on up and grab the honeycomb piece. This honeycomb piece is a bit of a bother. Since they really diverge from the path, I'm going to give it a 7 for streamline. While you do have to go out of your way for this, you are still told by Naughty to come see him in his house after you break the rock in the summertime, so you'll have that in mind. For its visibility, I'm going to give it a 9. It is hidden in his home, which you have to swim to. This in itself is tough. For its peril though, I'm only going to give it a 5 because while you have a good chance to die, the only way I see this happening is if you mess up trying to find a hole, which doesn't seem too likely unless you stray from the path of that base of the tree. The final score for this honeycomb is a 7 out of 10. As you can see, the stakes have risen quite quickly halfway through the honeycombs. So now let's go on to the next hidden piece. Coming in at 4, we'll be traveling to the first world, Mumbo's Mountain. While this is the first in-game level, this piece is still incredibly hard to find. So make your way up the mountain towards the huts and where Mumbo's house is. Once there, you'll see a spinning totem pole. This is Juju. To get a Jiggy, you must shoot mouths into Juju's mouth until each piece of the totem pole is gone. Once they are gone, you'll get your Jiggy. While this is the final goal, you gotta be a little bit weary. You must leave one piece of the totem pole left to jump on. Why, might you ask? Because there's an empty honeycomb piece perched on top of that last totem pole. This is a little bit perplexing with its streamline. With this, you want to get a Jiggy, but if you're a little too focused on that, you're going to have to restart the level because the totem pole is gone and you can't reach that honeycomb. So for this, the streamline's going to get an 8. While you are going that way, it's easy to not know that it's there and leave yourself high and dry, like I did in my Let's Play. For visibility, this is an easy 10. I mean, for my Let's Play, I spent too damn long trying to find it, and it was right in front of me. I couldn't even see it when I was on top of the highest point in the level. For peril, I'll give this one a 4 since having to restart is a little frustrating, but there really is no danger in getting hurt for this one. That's an overall score for a 7.33 out of 10 for this piece. About to crack the top 3, so let's see who made it. Third on our list is a very infuriating level, Rusty Bucket Bay. Here you need to get on and then enter the ship. For me and my Let's Play, the jiggy in this area that I got and where I got the piece was infuriating enough. So on your way to the fan room, you must jump down a tubular area, and then you must continue down a corridor to the fan room and go on your merry way. But if you're patient and look around, there's a small hexagon hallway that you can make your way through. Follow this and you'll get your honeycomb piece. For me, this wasn't too streamlined. In my Let's Play, I was making my way down the pipe and accidentally fell into the window and I got it. I was even talking about how I needed to look up where it was. For streamline, and for that reason, I will give it a 7. You'll be able to find it quite fast. For visibility, this gets another 10 as unless you are looking for it, you'll go right past it every time. As for peril, I'll give this a 6. You could possibly flip into the window, but most of the time for me, I continued to jump down from the top and just try and flutter down. Overall, a 7.66 rating. With only 2 left, what other madness could go ahead of these pieces? Number 2 on our list is going to take us to Mad Monster Mansion. For this, we need to go to the church. In the church, there's a jiggy involving playing the piano. The ghost hand shows you some keys, you follow along, bada bing, bada boom, your jiggy appears. You can now leave the church, but you may want to explore a little bit. If you do, you'll find a flight pad. This gives you the ability to fly around the room. Once you do so, you can fly up to the rafters. Up there are some things you'll need, namely the grunty switch, and then your honeycomb piece. Now this piece is very outside of Streamline. I don't even think of looking for the flight pad, and I didn't think about it when I was in my Let's Play. Therefore, I'm going to give this piece a 9 for Streamline. For the visibility, we're just giving out 10s. You get a 10, you get a 10, everybody gets 10s. For peril, this is also high. While getting it isn't the worst, getting down from the rafters is a death wish, and you'll take massive damage. For this, it'll get a 7. That's an overall score of an 8.66. Before we do get to number 1, let's do a quick recap of all the other honeycomb pieces. At number 10, inside the grate in Clanker's Cavern. Number 9, inside Waz's Cave in Freezeezy Peak. Number 8, above Tip Top's podium in Bubble Gloop Swamp. Number 7, inside Gobi in Gobi's Valley. Number 6, inside a pipe in Clinker's Cavern. Number 5, inside Naughty's home in Click Clock Woods. Number 4, inside Juju in Mumbo's Mountain. Number 3, through the hexagonal window in Rusty Bucket Bay. And number 2, on top of the rafters in the church in Mad Monster Mansion. Now with that settled, let's go to number 1. At the top spot, we're traveling to only the second level in the game, Treasure Trove Cove. This level is full of crazy things, most notably though, Snackers the Shark. And oh boy, this guy can be terrifying. Oh yay, I'm at the beach, let's go swimming, and oh my god, what's that? Yep, Snackers will pop up whenever you touch the water and try to eat you. This can be avoided as not many things that you need throughout the level are in the water. But there is one thing that is the worst, and it's going to be your honeycomb piece. For this, head towards Nipper, or what's left to him if you've already defeated him. There, take a right and head towards the water. It's time to swim. Swim around and in the corner wall at the bottom of the ocean is your honeycomb piece. And holy shit, you're going to get that honeycomb piece and then you've got to make a beeline back and try not to get eaten by Snackers. In terms of Streamline, this gets a 10. Not anywhere near where you're going to be, and you don't want to be in the water in the first place. For visibility, it's going to get another 10. Once again, you got to swim down just to find it. It took me forever to find this in my Let's Play. Finally, for peril, this gets a 9. Snackers is scary, and swimming to the bottom is tough. That's an overall score of a 9.66 out of 10. One of the best scores I've given and I probably will give. This was a very frustrating piece to find, and one that I'd love to soon forget. And that concludes my top 10 best hidden honeycomb pieces. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like rating. It really will help me to spread the word out of my huge release schedule that's coming up. If you really enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe and follow along for future top 10s and the top 5s that are going to be coming up. Like I said, within a month, there will be a top 5 video coming out, and it'll be one I hope you all will enjoy. So stay tuned for that. Also check out my Let's Play of Banjo Kazooie that finished up a while ago if you're a fan. The game is fun and was really fun to play. Thanks again for tuning in. This is the UofCWildcat, signing out.